Ben, what are your impressions of Zimbabwe?
Well, can you elaborate on that, Doc? What do you mean by that?
I want you to go ahead and tell me what you think of
what do I think?
your 2 weeks in Zimbabwe. You had some ideas about what you were going to find, and you came over here and you found something. And tell me how it all happened.
Zimbabwe, yeah. Well, Zimbabwe has been very interesting. I've had a very interesting time here. It's been a nice learning experience. I've enjoyed myself, besides my plane ticket headache. But besides that, now that's all resolved. I look back, and in retrospect, I've had a very enjoyable time. I've learned a hell of a lot in 2 weeks. We went and saw various, wildlife, which is phenomenal. Something you never get a chance to see in our country. So that was very enjoyable. And the people were of a different breed than what we're used to. That's for damn sure. For one, they're all black. I mean, 99%. And it's obviously different than our country. And they're all, I'm sure there are a few exceptions, but from people we've encountered, all are very pleasant, very friendly. And all the bad seeds seem to not be out or haven't been around since I've been here. A lot of smiling faces, no one has anything bad to say to you, so it's been very interesting. The people here are vastly different. If you look around, a lot of them don't have a lot, but they still manage to, give you a smile and make you feel good. They seem happy to see you, which is very nice. And we're now resuming the film.
Ben, you came over here with no fixed ideas about what you were going to find. And you've had 2 weeks of fairly intense experience traveling, seeing things, talking to people, looking around, forming impressions. How does your current feeling about Zimbabwe compare with what you thought before you came?
Well, it's a very difficult question because I really didn't have any concrete ideas of what Zimbabwe was like.
Or Africa.
Well, only Africa I knew was what I've seen through pictures or through the media, and it's very vague. So, of course, it's hard to imagine city life, what it would be like here, but as I found, Harare is a massive city. It's very much like any city that we're used to in the United States. It works a little differently, but it looks exactly the same. And the bush life, from what we've seen little villages out in the rural towns, the communal lands, they were a bit of a surprise because I picture people living off the land, but not exactly as they were. It was interesting to see. They really don't. They live in the minimal. What it takes to survive. Little huts, and they live in communal lands and seem like they work and live together, and they don't have a lot of needs, which is nice. It's compared to like our culture where everyone has needs and they need more and more and more. And it seems here they don't have that desire for achieving or consuming more. They just live with what they have, and I can't say whether they're happy or sad about it because I'm such an outsider, but the family life seems pretty strong, and they seem like they're sticking together. So that's one plus. Even though they don't have material goods or material wealth, they seem to have each other, and they seem to be happy about that. Basically, Zimbabwe to me seems like a wonderful place, and it seems like it's got great potential. Comparing to the other African nations who were colonized and had their independence for a lot longer than Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe is doing much better than they are for the most part, economically, and that's due in part to, I guess, Mugabe. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but if they can manage to just attract more foreign interest, I suppose, and develop better policy, they could, find some more employment and start giving more of the power, the real power, in terms of the economic power, back to the natives of this country, the black people. Slowly, I guess it'll take a while, but hopefully someday it'll all come into place.
Well, you went out to the communal lands yesterday. Today is the 21st of June, and you're going back tonight. And did you see anything in the communal lands out at Louisa Gadati
Was that the
hospital center? Just by observing the people that helped strengthen certain impressions you had, or did it change anything, or was it just more of the same?
More of the same, because it was too small. I try not to take that as all of Africa, only all of Zimbabwe, because it was one that we saw maybe a couple hundred people. It was such a small segment, and it seemed, people, the same thing. People living with the minimal, just live. It's hard to tell if they're happy or sad. On the surface, they appear very happy. These people. They have. When we drove by everyone we waved to had big, bright smiles on their face. Very happy to wave back. But it's hard to tell what really, if that's what really goes on inside. But on the surface, it seems like they're very happy, or very at ease with themselves, at least.
But so you would say they're not sad. They don't look depressed.
They don't look depressed whatsoever. Maybe
they don't look hungry.
They don't look hungry.
Mm-hmm.
They look. Most of the kids we saw looked basically pretty healthy. Mm-hmm. None of them were too skinny, and none of them looked like they had malnutrition. It's hard to tell, but it looked like they were feeling okay. And, it was nice to see that. And we come from such a different culture where we're judged on what we have and what we can achieve and what status we are. But we lose sight of who we really are. Here it seems, not to say either of them are any better, but here people aren't. It doesn't seem like they're judged with what they have.
Ben.
Yes, Pop.
Pop. That's right. That's what I want you to call me.
Come over a little more. Get in the picture.
I want to know. I have one important last question for you. As soon as I get my chair straight, of course.
When's my turn to ask you questions?
Oh, you're not allowed. This is a one-way conversation.
Yeah. Go ahead, shoot.
You think you would have had a different time if Lauren had been here?
Absolutely.
And I want to know what you mean by that.
Well, for one, I seem to have traveled, been around a lot of couples, especially in Newlyweds, and it seemed like a very nice, especially coming from far away to a place like this, very nice way to travel, with your loved one. For one, the sights, it's so romantic. The river, we're on the river, and you can imagine.
Shooting in the woods is romantic?
Oh yeah, bending over and forcing that out.
Yeah.
Very romantic. But the Vic Falls and the sunsets and the animals, it's very romantic. So I would have had a wonderful time with Lauren. And Lauren would have loved it too. She would love to see, learn about the people as well. She's a people person.
Now, since Lauren wasn't here, do you think that detracted greatly from the time that you had, or
a little bit,
sort of
but
like a toothache that you had the whole time?
No. Toothache. No, it definitely detracted from my time. I was still able to enjoy myself. Still able to learn a lot and be interested in what I was doing. But I think that I want to come back someday, within the next few years, 4 or 5 years, maybe, with Lauren, and I think that, my mind will be here, completely here, and it'll be a nice time. What do you think?
I think I agree with
you. What do you think? You Pat?
Yeah, I want you to go behind the camera for me to say a last thing, and then you can turn it off. You know how to turn it off?
Yeah, I know how to turn it off.
And maybe I'll sit in your seat. Or am I in the middle of the...
Yeah, you're good. You're a little over to the right.
Okay, I'm going to move over here.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that good?
So Howie, you've been here. Let me just ask you a quick question. You don't have to go into detail. But you have been here for some 5 or 6 months, and you're heading to go home in a month. Would you like to stay longer than that, or are you ready to go back?
No, I'm ready.
You ready?
I had set aside in my mind 6 months of my life for this trip, and as I'm getting toward the end, I think my mind is telling me, my body is telling me it's time to go home. Even though I have a lot of misgivings about going home sooner than I might, particularly in my work, because I think I can make more of an impact here if I stay longer. But I've sort of, my clock is ticking and the meter's running out, so I think it's time instead of to put more money in,
sail away.
to move the parking spot.
I see.
So, sports fans, this is the last word for the Benjamin and Howard show. And I want everyone to understand that we'll be back again someday.
And tell them who our sponsors are.
Sponsored by the Mary Herdick Foundation for worrying.
That's co-sponsored by Benjamin and Leslie.
And the Leslie Herdick Institute
for rainy days and black clouds.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, goodbye everyone.